Good afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity. So I'll start first with a little bit about Kia. We'll talk about who we are, how long we've been here, and then get into some of the clean tech investment that we're really proud of. We are the number 6 brand in the United States in terms of sales. In 2023, we sold about 782,000 vehicles. We sold more than 32,000 EVs. And globally, we sell 3.1 million units around the world. We're part of the Hyundai Motor Group, which is the number 3 automaker around the world. And we've been in the US for 30 years, so we're a relatively young brand. In the US, we sell 11 models. So the showroom has 11 nameplates on it. 3 of those are battery electric EVs. We sell 3 hybrids and 3 plug-in hybrids as well. We also have North American production in West Point, Georgia. We build about 340,000 units a year there. All those 3 SUVs, the Telluride, the Sportage, and the Sorento, come out of West Point, Georgia. We also have an assembly plant in Monterrey, Mexico that builds the Rio and the Forte, and we build more than 200,000 units a year there. The 3 award-winning EVs that we're really proud of start with the EV9. That's a 3-row, 304-mile SUV EV. It starts at about $54,900. This vehicle is the North American Utility Vehicle of the Year. This year, we're really proud of that. And it's really aimed at folks who are in Kia Tellurides, Toyota Highlanders, Honda Pilots, Nissan Pathfinders, Explorers. You get the picture. As an all-electric 3-row alternative to those vehicles, it's compelling. The EV6, which was launched in 2022, is our 310-mile mid-market crossover. It kind of splits the difference between a Model 3 and a Model Y, like size-wise and conceptually. And it can be bought for $42,600. It also won the North American Utility Vehicle Award 2 years ago when it was launched. And the third EV is the Niro EV. It goes 253 miles, and it can be bought for $39,600. Now, those 3 vehicles originate from Kia's Plan S, which was announced about 4 years ago in 2020. And it is a $27 billion investment into EVs, electrification, and clean tech. And there's a lot more to come, and I'm going to talk about that. But in the near term, what Plan S has done, aside from yielding those vehicles and some others, is in our report card. And we'll talk about that. And if you look at the graphs that are up there, what it's allowed us to do is sell from less than 1% EVs in 2020 to 6% of our sales as EV in 2023. And electrified volume for Kia has gone from about 10% in 2020 to almost 24% last year, and it's going to go a lot higher. So let's take a look at that. So this graphically portrays what I just described. You can see the green columns characterize the battery electric sales volume for Kia. The yellow line characterizes the share of our sales growth. And then on the right side of the slide are our ambitious targets. We're going to sell more than 1 million battery electric EVs around the world in 2026, and it goes to 1.6 million or more in 2030. So all of this investment, which is about $5 billion a year through 2027, is going to yield all this volume and electrification and decarbonization. So some of the vehicles that are coming from this investment, of course, the EV9. But if you were at the Los Angeles Auto Show in November, we revealed the EV3 concept and the EV4 concept. Now, we get it loud and clear on the cost and the price part of this, and these vehicles will come to market with a much lower price point because they have a much lower cost basis. We're planning to have 7 or 8 EVs by 2027. These are some of them. The EV3 is an entry SUV EV. Think of it as an electric version of the Kia Seltos or Honda HR-V, that kind of size and class. More than 300 miles range, between about $35,000 and $40,000. We think it's going to be compelling also. The EV4 is sort of the sedan complement of that. Think of it as an electric compact sedan. Think of it as an electric Forte, which is very much like a Civic or a Corolla dimensionally. more than 300 miles range, starting in the low 30s, a very bold design statement, and also a very compelling product. There's a couple other vehicles up there. If you were at CES in January, Kia had a huge announcement about its platform beyond vehicle. And effectively what this is Kia's entrance into electrified cargo. We showed two vehicles. This is one of them, the PV5. This vehicle is sort of a compact electric minivan. We're going to build it with seats to carry people for like Uber and Lyft, and then there will be a cargo version to carry cargo and stuff. And we think this vehicle fits with low emission zones, LEZs, where getting goods and people in and out of city centers is going to be really important. There's two other vehicles that are up there under the red drapes. One of them's a pickup truck. That may be a surprise. And there's also another SUV that's in gestation for the latter part of the decade. It's coming about 2027. The other point, the final bullet point up there is discussion about our IONNA DC charging network, which I'm going to talk about a little bit further. The folks in West Point, Georgia, where we build the Telluride and the Sorento and Sportage, they also wanted to send a picture of their readiness for the EV9. We're going to build the EV9 there starting in May. So they were very proud of the work, the brick and mortar, and the $200 million investment to get that plant ready to build the EV9. Some new robots. It's pretty cool. And the first one came off the line last month. It's a pilot vehicle. They're building pilot vehicles now and pre-production vehicles, but in May, this vehicle goes into production in West Point, Georgia, and we're really proud of it. And it's also a byproduct of the Inflation Reduction Act. You know, we wouldn't be shifting production to the United States probably if it wasn't for the IRA, so we're really thankful for that. The other news that's on this slide is the Hyundai Motor Group's brand new battery electric vehicle plant that's being built in Savannah, Georgia. 300,000 units a year. We're going to get some of those, and that goes into production in fourth quarter of this year. So look out for news on that. And it's called the Meta Plant, by the way. State-of-the-art, multi-billion-dollar investment with battery packaging and assembly on site. So look for that. Okay, I want to spend a minute and talk about this. A lot of these topics have come up. I feel like I'm echoing sentiments of lots of others here today. But I just wanted to convey a couple of points about the headwinds against EV. And it echoes what Alex and Naya said, cost, infrastructure, and range. And the price of the vehicle is way high right now. We're working really hard. I just talked about getting the price down into the low 30s. That's coming. We're working on getting the costs of the pack down. That's coming. But in the mind of the customer, they still perceive a really expensive monthly payment. The interest rate currently isn't helpful. The Inflation Reduction Act, while helpful, is a little bit whipsawing folks. You know, some EVs are in, some EVs are out. A year ago we had 15, now we have 12. Let's be aware of that. And then with respect to charging infrastructure, let me go back to range real quick. One is we had the same data on 400 miles being the psychological number for EV intenders. And what's interesting is if you ask EV owners how much range do they need, they come back and they say, yeah, I need about 250 miles of range. So it's interesting what the perception and the reality is there. Now, linking this is infrastructure. And we think that infrastructure is probably one of the most important parts of this. It may be obvious, but the way we see it is if you have visible, prolific, ultra-reliable charging, it allows us to use smaller battery packs, which does what? It lowers the cost, it lowers the price, it allows us to use some of that material to make more EVs. It allows cars to be driven more frequently. Currently, EVs are maybe the second or third car. They don't go on long trips. But ultra-reliable charging can help fix that. We think it's the key. Okay. I mentioned IONNA. If you're familiar with Europe and the venture between these automakers in Europe, which is called IONNITY, in the US, the joint venture is very similar. And this is between BMW, Honda, General Motors, Hyundai, Kia, Mercedes-Benz, and Stellantis. And it's hundreds of millions, multi-billion-dollar effort to build out 30,000 ultra-fast DC chargers across the country by 2030. That's like 5,000 new chargers a year. So we got to step on it. But the aim is to revolutionize EV charging in North America, and that's to make it visible, prolific, ultra-reliable, and a really pleasant experience, something that's arguably not the current case. Okay, one more and I'm done, and it's Kia's perspective and Kia's view is that while EV demand may be non-linear, a little choppy, and we're feeling that right now, we will be ready with the products, the supply, the production, the compelling technology, and the super useful innovations. And with that, I thank you.